Hi, this is Chet here from Avion Technology here in the Chicagoland area. We are a digital agency. One of the exciting things that we do is we actually work with a lot of startups. We help them to create their MVP, and we also help them to create a prototype. Then we help them to create an MVP, and then we help to scale up that MVP and sometimes even to exit. So over the last 17 years, we've had the good fortune of working with a lot of startups. I myself personally have worked with at least it's about 300 400 startups, and there's a couple of patterns now that I have come to realize that exist in the startup world. So today I'm going to talk about that. What are the kind of startups that succeed and what are the kind of startups that don't, right? So there's a lot of factors in this. Today I'm going to talk about the successful ideas that stick, right? So successful ideas, right? One, this is a no-brainer. The idea solves some kind of a problem, right? The world is a marketplace, and to be successful in the marketplace, you have to solve some kind of a problem, right? Either it is a highly commoditized, like a physical product or an online product, or a highly commoditized service that you're selling, and in that case, you can actually scale it up, non-linearly, or there's probably a custom solution that you're selling, like a lawyer, or like a digital agency with a lot of touch points with the clients, in which case you can only scale it up linearly. So the first question that you have to ask yourself is, what problem are you solving, right, in this world? And then an ancillary, a corollary to that is this a scalable solution or a non-scalable solution, right? Because your outcomes will depend on the scalability of the solution. That's number one. A lot of times, actually, I have seen that the entrepreneurs who succeed, contrary to what people feel, is actually a lot of times the ones that do succeed are folks who have actually spent a lot of time within that industry, right? Why is that? Because for most startups to succeed, you actually need the first 100 customers, right? And I mean, it's nothing is set in stone, so it's not like you need 100 and not 70. But I have usually seen that it's the 100 user mark at which a lot of startups kind of take off. And if you're from the industry, then you have contacts, you have the trust, you've built some kind of a reputation within the industry, so it's much easier for you to get these 100 users, or your initial users. Secondly, even VCs, right? VCs kind of success begets more success, right? So VCs will typically like to sign checks where they know that the chances of that investment becoming successful and giving them those fantastic returns is much high. And usually when someone has a track record, there's something for the VCs to kind of go by. So it's one of the hallmarks that I've seen of a lot of entrepreneurs is that they have the industry experience. The second is a long tail, and what's the long tail? The long tail actually is if you look at it as right, it's what can we call the niche, right? Niches. So everyone kind of tries to go for like the generic solutions. So I want a social, it's funny, I'm in this business for the last 17 years. We sometimes still get requests for, like, someone says, oh, I want, a social networking site. And I'm like, oh my God, there's like 5 million of those already, right? Or I want an e-commerce site. Okay, what's your niche? No, I don't have a niche. It's just an online marketplace. And like, oh my God, there's like so many of those, right? So try to target the long tail. In fact, the more the niche, the better it is. And there's a reason why. It'll be much easier for you to get your first 100 customers if you're targeting a niche, because you have a saleable story. Remember, customers buy from you based on the story, right? And when you have when you're pitching to the long tail, you speak directly to them because you're targeting a niche, right? So it'll be much easier for you to get your first 100 users if you're targeting the long tail. Moreover, VCs, right? There's a lot of times VCs have a specific industry focus. So you'll find VCs who target a specific industry, and when you're targeting a niche within that industry, chances are that you'll also find many more VCs who are who are willing to give you an ear. Which gets me to my last point here. For a startup to succeed, especially for a startup which is highly scalable, you need a visionary, you need a builder personality, you need a person who's at the center, who gets an amazing team around him, and then can get these VCs to sign checks for him, and then take it from 0 to 100 to 1,000, right? There's a specific personality type which does that. I had seen this in action a lot of times, but there's this amazing TED talk by a guy, by Chicago native called Joe Abraham, and his Bossy framework. You can see the link right here. If you are an entrepreneur, I would highly, highly, highly recommend that you watch this video, because this framework of entrepreneurship actually made me realize that why so many startups do not succeed, right? Because they do not have this personality, right? They don't have this person. Why sometimes a lot of startups kind of stagnate at a point, because they are specialists who are in non-scalable industries who are trying to scale. So definitely see this, and I think it will be a game changer. So that's my takeaway for today. Number one, if you have a successful idea, and if you're passionate about the idea, 100% go for it. Like I always say, the cost of failure in today's world is really low. So you can be back on your feet again in a couple of years, but at least you will not have the regret that you did not try what you wanted to do. So definitely go for that entrepreneurship plunge. Secondly, try to identify what problem you are solving, and whether it's a scalable problem or a non-scalable problem, right? Number two, if you have the relevant industry experience, for example, you've probably spent like 10 years in the logistics industry, right? And if you then start a startup which kind of caters to logistics, and then within logistics, you talk to like multimodal, for example, then you're targeting the long tail, right? So then the chances of the startup succeeding are really high. More importantly, right, like I always say, if you want to increase your chances of success, target the long tail, right? There's so much business happening at the long tail. The more generic you are, the more the competition, the more red ocean the market is. The more long tail you are, the more blue ocean the market is, the more the chances of you becoming successful. And the last thing is, if you have a solution that is scalable, see if you have a scaler on your team, right? There is a specific personality type who's very good at scaling things. I say this again and again, not everyone is a scaler, not everyone can scale. There's a specific personality type that's good at scaling. So always make sure that if you are in a scalable solution, that you have a person who can scale up. And here at Avion, we've helped a lot of startups go to MVPs and beyond. So if you have a product idea, give us a shout. We are pretty confident we can deliver that at a fraction of the cost probably as someone else, and we would love to see you successful. Thank you so much. If you like the content, press like. If you want to subscribe, press subscribe. And these are my coordinates. If you want to give me a shout, I'd be more than happy to connect with you. Thank you.